So, do you like Zillow?
I don't like Zillow. I think
Why
Zillow, to me, Zillow is an evil wave, and Zillow does not look out for the best interest of the public and consumers like most individual agents do. Zillow has pricing algorithms that they cutely call a Zestimate. I'm sure that works well when you are selling a particular floor plan in a Cary subdivision that is sold 3 or 4 or 5 times in the last 6 months. It's probably fairly accurate information. But if I have a 4,000 square foot home on 20 acres in the middle of the country, that program is going to pull in single wides, double wides, houses, all sorts of things that just make a mess where those prices can come in really high or really low. And I think that the consumer relies too heavily on these estimates where they may feel as though, hey, it's a good buy because the Zestimate tells me so. And I've seen some, I've had my listings come up as a best buy, and I've priced stuff right, but it's no best buy, And then they'll have other properties where, the Zestimate comes in at half because the property is above average property for the area, and that's inaccurate too. And sellers are getting very, very upset. The other thing that Zillow does that I think is absolutely horrible, and I think there's a bunch of agents out there just making a pact with the devil here, is that if your property comes up on Zillow and you click that you want to see it, Zillow sells that listing to other agents that know nothing about that property. So here you are online, you would like to see this house, you click on it that you want a showing here in Pittsburgh, and an agent that is paid for the Pittsburgh zip code in Durham is the one that answers the phone. And sometimes that agent will say, I don't know anything about that, or they'll say, why do you want to go to Pittsburgh? Durham's so much better, or I have this listing here that I'm sure you'd like better and everything. And so that seller is done a huge disservice by Zillow because their property, just because it's on MLS and then Zillow pays for that information off of MLS and then it upsells that information to other agents, the seller and really the buyer is harmed because there's just different allegiances and loyalties. That listing should go, at least for the information about it, either to a professional that really knows the area or the listing agent itself. And even if a buyer wants their own representation, at least that agent could say, well, this is what you should know about the property, and if you like for me to show it, I can show it to you. And still at that point, if they want to hire their own agent, they still could do that. But at least the property is somewhat more vetted and you're talking to someone that actually knows about the property. Zillow has it has some remarkable features that people like. People love the balloons and the location and the directionals and the pictures, and they like what is sold in the area and they like what's active for the area. So there's some unique mapping features that I understand are particular to Zillow. But the guy that's running Zillow right now is the same guy that was involved with Expedia, okay? And when I was a kid and you wanted to go somewhere, you called a travel agent. I don't know a travel agent now. I don't know anybody that's a travel agent right now. That industry has been wiped out. And it's because of these kind of industries that they've wiped that out and everything. I've heard people have gone on, they've gotten amazing values in trips, but I've heard people have gone on horrible trips. And the one thing I love I loved about having a travel agent is that travel agent said, "Oh, I went there. I know you. You will love this. This is what it has." And you're not going to get that off of just a random computer site and everything. That's what Zillow is doing to my industry right now. And I think the real estate professionals that are contracting with Zillow to buy these leads are doing a huge disservice to our industry.
So I like Zillow because, I'm looking for a property. So I can easily put in everything I'm looking for. It notifies me within 24 hours.
Great search criteria, right?
It's the best way to search for things. But even recently, I had a question for a seller, and I thought the box said contact the seller. I'm not sure what it is, something to that effect. And I thought I was going to ask the listing agent about restrictions on the property.
It probably says something like contact an agent, but you make assumptions that it's
Right.
the agent.
Yes, yeah, it's right beside the listing. So
Yeah,
I clicked it and filled out the information, and somebody from your office called me. And I wanted to know what the restrictions were, if you have certain animals on the property, maybe, what can you do or not do on the property, kind of bonfires and stuff. And she had no idea. So, and worse, I think she was getting charged for that call, and I'm never going to use her because I know you, and I'm going to use you.
Right. Yeah.
Complete the transaction.
Yeah. And like I said, there's no harm in contacting the listing agent and asking them, but Zillow just diverts. It's all smoke and mirrors. But yeah, that's a great example, and even though that person's in my office, I'm not upset that they got burned on that.